So, guys, thank you very much for having you here with us. Thank you, Patrik. Thank you for everyone. So, we have a big challenge because this is the last panel before lunch. So, it's a very big challenge. And the other challenge that we have to address is that probably we have to talk and to speak about the biggest elephant in the room for the Italian football industry. And the biggest Italian elephant that we have in the room, of course, are stadium, are arena, are some big venues. And we said that we will have some keywords to discuss, some common question for everybody. We would like to have a real talk show in a very free way. We don't have vertical questions for each of them. So I would like to start with the first keywords that I would like to share with you. And I think that if we have better infrastructure, we will have better, let me say, products. We'll have more innovative services, and probably with better infrastructure, we'll have positive behaviors. So, talking about fan experience, which is the main topics, the main issue that we have to fix and to leverage, talking about fan experience, talking about infrastructure, and of course, stadium infrastructure. Andrea, for them, okay.
You can start, Patrik.
You can start, Patrik.
Hello. Good day. Sorry, good evening. It's so dark inside here. No, I mean, like, in Germany, we were very lucky that because of the World Cup 2006, there was a huge step made in terms of improvement of the stadium infrastructure. And before the World Cup 2006, most of our stadiums were stadiums with a running track, so like built for athletics, and football was, one of the events that happened there. And because of the World Cup 2006, most stadiums, almost all stadiums except for Berlin, were converted into proper football stadiums, spectators close to the pitch, and so on. That was a very big factor for increasing the experience for the fans, and making everything better for the fans. And of course, with that improvement, beginning of like 2002, 2003, most of those stadiums went under construction or renovation and so on. That was the right moment compared to maybe like the World Cup 1990 was maybe too early. 98 was quite early, and like in the early 2000s, technical improvements. Like we really built like the next generation of stadiums with a roof. Our stadium has a retractable roof. There's Schalke and Düsseldorf have a retractable roof as well. So we kind of we had the World Cup at the right moment. That is what I want to say. And until now that is still existing. And then we had the Women's World Cup in 2011, and that brought us like even a smaller stadium generation with stadiums in Augsburg and like smaller cities that were part of the Women's World Cup. And again, that was very helpful to give smaller cities the opportunity, to have a good reason to build a new stadium, and then whatever Bundesliga or second league club plays and continues to play in those stadiums. And so, the World Cup was absolutely the right momentum for Germany to improve the whole stadium infrastructure.
Hank, what do you think about...
Talking about fan experience, the concept of Amsterdam Arena was developed in the beginning 90s, and we were living in an area with hooligans, with fights in the stadiums, normal people, families with children. They didn't come to the matches anymore because of the fear, etc. So we said we must turn around the whole thing. We must put the visitor central, and then the fan experience is number one. Safety and security are crucial in that, but it is not only the stadium, it is the whole way from home to the stadium and from the stadium back home. So it's the public transport, it is the parking, it is all the let's say the facilities that you pass until you are in your seat. Also the way you are are buying your ticket, etc. So we had a total new concept put on in place in the beginning 90s, and it resulted, let's say, to a new sort of stadium, which was also a private company, where the money had to be gained, it had to make profit in order to be able to reinvest in new technology. Because if you build a stadium is one, but to keep it up to standard is number two. The requirements of your customers are changing every day. Look at the use of your smartphone, for example. So we were able to make this profitable business and regenerate the stadium all the time, but putting the fan central. Everybody VIP, we said. Everybody is VIP. So in that way, I think we set a new standard, and the stadium was always full. I mean, all the matches were sold out, all the concerts were sold out. In that way, you get a community, actually, in your stadium that wants to come again all the time. So fan experience, and you can add many things to that through your internet, or how you have the people now online, the eating, the drinking, the dressing, the facilities in the city. It is a whole set of things that you do together with the club. Ajax is our main club, and we do it together with Mojo, who is doing all the concerts. You set the whole experience, you set it up together. So the fans put them in the central place, and they will come back.
So Andrea, you are the real host of this event. What's your experience about fan experience?
Well, I connect with what Patrik and Henk said. I fully believe, what they said, that we are experience producer, or we support the production of an experience. And of course, also from our management point of view, we place the spectator at the entrance, at the center of the attention in our process. And our particularities, of course, that we have different tenants. We have two football teams, we have the national team, we have the rugby national team. So, of course, we see the difference in behaviors between the different spectators, or the same spectator coming to a different event. What we are doing now, we are investing, and of course I refer also to the specific situation we have. First of all, to mobility, accessibility is one point that they request, and we really want to give a real concrete answer. Later we will talk about sustainability. And the other point is fun, entertainment and show production. That means that, of course, it doesn't rely only on audio, video system. These seasons with Roma and Lazio, we learned that an eagle that is flying, as well as Mourinho coming, they change the experience and also the participation of the spectators. And this is important as well. And the other thing we are doing now is that you have a lot of solutions, also technological solutions. The thing we are doing is to let them integrate into what Henk mentioned as a customer journey. So the point is that the spectator has to, has one experience, and nowadays they have different solutions delivered from different providers. I think it's really important to have one unique platform, one unique point, access point to which the spectator can talk, and of course in different targets, from VIPs as well as to the general public.
Yeah, planning this round table, we talk about a lot about the profitable business to manage a large venue and so on. And I have a $1 million question for you. Is this a profitable business? What do you think, Henk? Is a profitable business? And what do you need to make it profitable?
Well, our stadium is profitable. We make an average, let's say, profit of about 3 million euros after depreciation. So we depreciate the building in about, on the average, in about 20 years. That means the initial, let's say, investment is depreciated. But after depreciation, we have a 2.5 million profit, which is a very good cash flow. The cash flow is about 10 million plus. And this 10 million plus is being reinvested in the stadium. So in the last 10, 15 years, we invested about 90 million on escalators, elevators, new facilities, etc. So the money is being reinvested and very little is actually being paid as a dividend to our shareholders. But the stadium can be profitable because of two reasons. First of all, the stadium should not be too expensive in the initial investment. I mean, if you start with a stadium like Tottenham Hotspur, which is €1.5 billion, and if you have a profitable, you want to make that profitable on the, like in property, you say, I want to have 4%, let's say, interest on this investment, you will never make it profitable, I think. So you need a rich sheikh who's saying, here is a billion, have a nice day. But if you see purely...
It's a good business plan.
Yeah, if you have a rich uncle, it's always nice to have a rich uncle. But if you don't have that, you must have the investment low, and you don't have too much mortgage, because the bank is saying interest. And pay it back. So you must have private partners. Yeah. We did a crowdfunding. We made crowdfunding from the €1,000 to €250,000. You could buy a share in the stadium with all the people. We had commercial partners. And only 25% was the mortgage. So we could pay it down in a nice way. So it is a financial engineering. Yeah. And when you have money left, you reinvest it in the building. That is the sort of mechanism that made us, our stadium, profitable. And of course, with a good schedule of events. I mean, we had a good rental agreement with Ajax. They pay a good rent. The rental agreement with the concert organizations. We developed also...
It's a multi-content experience.
You need to be multifunctional. I mean, it's like an airplane. It must fly all the time, and it must be full. Yeah. That's the stadium, actually.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that is how we started in 2005 when the city of Frankfurt built the stadium and still owns it. All they wanted is to get their money of the investment back. And we did a business plan in the beginning, and we had like 5 concerts per year. And they said, 5 concerts? The Rolling Stones will be dead soon. So who shall fill a stadium 5 times a year? Now we consider a year with 5 concerts a very bad year. Like our average is now 12 to 15 concerts. And so you see, like, the business and the need for a stadium has developed so much further. I mean, like, for us, very luckily, the record industry completely collapsed, and the artists have to go on tour, because otherwise with streaming and so on, they don't really make that much money. So that was a very beneficial thing to venues, indoor arenas and stadiums, that this part of the musical industry has changed so much. Now we have comedians, magicians, whatever, filling a stadium, and it's just the change of life that has happened in the last 20 years, and stadiums are one of the places where people like to be, not just for football.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it was the request from the government, because as a company, we receive Stadio Olimpico at the beginning of the 2000. And the government told us, I mean, you have to maximize this asset and collect money and bring back to the sport movement. Yeah. So that's what we have done during the years, and how we did is what also Henke and Patrik said. First of all, focusing on the content. We were lucky because we already had 2 football teams playing here, and of course we focus also on improving what they could deliver, also what we could generate. Because if you generate something for them, it was also for us. And the other thing was acquiring additional content. So they mentioned, so now, over the years, we send also messages to the market. For example, I remember in 2010, we decided to organize a U2 concert during the football season. Was of course, Roma and Lazio were not really happy, but we could manage. So management is really important to assure, your tenants, your clients, that you are able to do it. On the other hand, what we did is that we always thought as investment rather than a cost. So, I mean, focusing on that project, we said, well, okay, Roma and Lazio, we are investing. So when you will, after the concert or after all these events, you will get a better stadium. And if you think about Stadio Olimpico, of course, it's a little bit old, but every event, even this one that we do it, we always have this investment approach. I heard today Michele Uvas mentioning the fact that they don't want to do any more competition, they want to do it investment. Well, that's exactly what it is. So what we always try to do from a small event organizer to a big event organizer is to think about and take some investments, exclude costs, and so leave it a legacy for the stadium. The other point I wanted to, of course, underline is the fact of the scale. So we are lucky because by reaching a number of events and of course by operating also the park around it, we have a number of initiatives and activities that allow us to make investment that are shared with all the activities. And we can do it because we are in the middle. Roma, Lazio, rugby, and national team, they cannot do it because they are a single entity.
Yeah, there are a lot of students in the audience, and I would like to ask you, if this is a profitable business, my question for you is, which are the main competences and which are the main skills from the managerial point of view to manage these assets, to manage this business model? Patrik.
Yeah, it is a profitable business, but I mean, like we are now part of Eintracht Frankfurt, like we are now part of the football club that changed from a private company to the football club in 2020. And the goal for the football club is of course to have the best possible stadium to host the football games. And then, like,
it's a good purpose,
which is a good purpose, of course. And for us, it's like at the stadium operator, we try to be cost efficient and, of course, like maximize profits on what we call the summer break, which is not a break, which is like the summer period where we do all the other events and so on. And so we bring other people to the stadium, and that helps again, like improving on the football side as well. So overall, the skills are it's a very wide range of skills, like from being creative on finding new content or creating new content, new events. We very often we are kind of the driver in inventing something new, not just like stadium size, but as well conferences and all those things. We are very creative on that. And then on the other hand, there is just the basic operation, which is hard work, and of course you need to be cost efficient on that, and you need to improve every day. I mean, like, I'm in the stadium now 20 years. If I would work like I did 20 years ago, that would not be enough today. And so, like, improvement is to stay at least on the same standard, and then doing like innovations and so on gets you ahead of the game.
I would like to say that is an infrastructure with an emotional content. So you have to manage the operative way and the experience content that you have to provide inside your infrastructure.
Yeah, and the infrastructure needs to improve. So, I mean, like, our stadium was built like 100 years ago. There was like the first stadium of the city of Frankfurt. That was there for 50 years, almost the same. Then for the 1974 World Cup, there was like it was almost like rebuilt. Then 25 years later, it was rebuilt. So like 50 years, first cycle, 25 years, the next cycle. And then it's like now, after 15 years, we did not rebuild the stadium, but we did a major improvement on, LED boards, LED floodlight, new video cube, all the technical stuff which wasn't there in 2005. In 2005, the iPhone came out in 2007. So like our stadium was ready, was finished just before the iPhone came.
There was no Wi-Fi.
So there was no Wi-Fi and so on. So things changed in this little amount of time, in 15 years, and so we did that major improvement on the technical side. So our stadium now is again like state of the art, but you need, the cycle goes faster and faster.
Hank, from your experience, from your point of view.
I agree fully. I could add, I mean, entrepreneurial side is very important. I mean, it is a profession. I mean, it is not something that you can let do by an ex-football player and say, well, you run the stadium. it is really a profession, like in property.
It's not a retirement way.
Those days have gone. Although I also became a grass expert. I mean, I became director of a stadium. When it was ready, it turned out there would not grow any grass in the stadium. So we had quite a fundamental problem with that. And we solved it by inventing the resodding technique with thick sods, which is done all over because we were in a desperate situation. We had to invent things. So you must also create new things. And then the light system that you see here is actually developed in Amsterdam with SGL because of the need of finding something in a stadium where there is a roof and you have a lack of sunlight and ventilation. So in that urge, well, they say always in times of war you do the best inventions. It was war in Amsterdam with the stadium where you have no grass. So you must be creative, inventive, entrepreneurial, and dare to do things. But also bridge building. You must build bridges with everyone. The company, but we were not forgetting the city of Amsterdam.
The different stakeholders.
You are a friend with the police officers.
Yeah.
You are friends with the environmentalists. You are a friend with the neighborhood. You are the center of society. So you must be friends and networking with everyone. And that's making the job so interesting.
Andrea, I would like to say that you have to manage a bureaucracy in Italy too.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I always say that this is a private island within our company. But
what about Rome?
What about Rome? I mean, it's challenging, but you learn a lot, and it's true what Henk is saying. I would say I would really invest in project management. If you think about an event, is it a project? And the objective we have is to deliver every project, every event in the best way possible. And of course, part of this work is, of course, dealing, with public, with private, so dealing with stakeholders, able to assess them, to understand what they want, how to involve them, because at the end, before we were talking about experience, building an experience. I mean, if you think about mobility, you cannot think to deliver mobility to a spectator without involving the public administration. That's why I say that if I were a student, I would invest in project management.
But we are also, in the end, responsible for a full stadium where there are 55, 70,000 people at that moment. If something happens, I mean, it is always they look at us.
From the security point of view, absolutely.
I mean, so we have also
people security, people health,
and then there
crisis management. I think that crisis management could be.
And at that moment, there's no democracy. And say, let's talk. What shall we do? No, when it's crisis, say, run, chuck. It's going like that. So you have different type of leaderships you need. But in the end, I mean, sometimes I was saying, oh shit, tomorrow we have a full house with dance. With drugs and things, what will happen,
My second $1 million or euros question for you is, which is the right size? I know that the answer is it depends. But now, thinking about to have a new stadium, a new venue, which is the right dimension, the right size, for a new stadium? Andrea.
Okay.
From your opinion, which is the right size?
Well, we know. It all starts from the vision,
Yeah.
So what type of content you want to deliver? It's a football team or it's a multifunctional stadium? This is, for example, just an example of a stadium that was born as an Olympic stadium, so track and field events and football. And the beginning of 2000, because we wanted to make it feasible, we had to switch the concept and the vision of the stadium, and we had to add additional ingredients, content like rugby, like the national team, like music, and so on. So of course, it depends on the content you want to put in. And of course, it depends on the attraction area you have. Of course, the other, and I leave the floor to them, is also like how you distribute the capacity. So what percentage of the capacity is dedicated to VIPs, what percentage is dedicated to the general public, and so on. That is also really, really important, because at the end, we want the full stadium, because I fully believe that the spectators, the supporters are the 12 player on the pitch, and they should contribute to the event experience and atmosphere, while other ones look at the 3,000, 4,000 guests we have at the stadium every match. They contribute to the turnover. So both of them are important.
$1 million question.
Yeah, so I mean, our stadium is basically smaller than the old Waldstadion. The Waldstadion had like 62,000 capacity, mostly standing. But let's say the 10 years before the stadium was rebuilt, Eintracht Frankfurt played second league a few times. So that was probably very helpful that the decision was made to build a slightly smaller stadium. So like Commerzbank Arena, Deutsche Bank Park has a capacity of 51,000, or I have to say had a capacity, because Now, with some improvements and like the sportive success of Eintracht Frankfurt is what it was absolutely necessary to do something, and so we changed one stand into like a full standing stand again, and so now we are at 58. So we are getting close to the old number, because in the last 18 years we played only 1 year in the second league, and of course winning Europa League and so on is a huge success, and the fan base is bigger than ever before, and so yeah, at the moment of the like 2002 decision, it was right to build 50,000. Now it's right to go back to almost the old number. If you have the chance to do that.
What's your opinion?
Well, the ideal stadium, that's a marketing question. So I've been involved in about 35 stadiums all around the world. So the first is the question, where is the stadium? Who is the club? What is your catchment area? How many people are living? What is your market? And then from that point of view, you look, okay, if you have this team and this market, it can be that I've also been involved in smaller stadiums, that you say, well, there's no money. Then you make a ring-shaped building, actually, where there's one part is Congress, one part is office, one part is fitness, and one part, and in between there is a patio. People are sitting on the roof watching the patio, and on the patio is a football match. Yeah. So the stadium, and underneath there is a parking. So the building in itself is generating enough money to survive. This is an ideal model for a club of a mid-range, let's say, city of 10, 15,000 visitors. And up to the level of Real Madrid. I mean, they build 100,000, but the building costs are going exponential. So the highest seats are the most expensive to build, and they generate the least money.
With the cheaper ticket.
Sorry?
With the cheaper ticket.
Yeah, the cheapest tickets are there, but it's most expensive. It's stupid to build a 100,000 stadium unless you have a rich uncle. So, the question you answer is in different respects, and we were very happy with 55,000 people. There must be always a shortage in tickets and skyboxes. Because then, otherwise, if you have too much tickets, then the price goes down. They go, you buy it. So to me, 55, 60,000 is at least for Holland, for the Dutch market, was perfect. But and I was in Qatar, as a consultant. Well, the money was just pouring from the roofs there. So, okay, you build a stadium of 100,000 people in Qatar, where there are 2 million people living.
Probably the question was, how many stadiums do you want?
Yeah.
Not how many people inside one stadium.
Yeah. So this is my answer to your question.
Let's talk about sustainability as our last topic. I would like to address the topic about sustainability, crossing sustainability with technology. So what are the last innovative infrastructure that you are building or that you are seeing around the world, talking about the sustainability of a venue, sustainability of the stadium? Patrik, I know you have a recent experience with NFL. I'm a big fan of NFL. I'm very curious about the crossing sustainability and technology in your experience with the NFL.
I wouldn't say NFL as my first thought when it comes to sustainability, but they put in effort. I have to say they put in effort, but in general, of course, like doing an NFL game or 2 NFL games, that is a huge operation, and so it brings, I don't know, hundreds and thousands of people to Frankfurt that work just around those games.
It's not so sustainable.
But well, at least we did one thing very well, because the fans were coming from all over Germany, and so they came a lot by train, by public transport, and so on. So it was, in terms of transport to the stadium, it was the game with least cars and most usage of public transport, so at least something was achieved. But in general, the NFL is, as I said, is really huge, and I've seen a lot. I've seen FIFA and many events, but the attention to detail and what they are concerned about is really enormous. And like, I don't know, they are doing tables with 800 lines just talking about what happens when on the game day and so on. So it has been a really, really big experience and great experience working with them. But I can as well say they are really good in partnership. So it was like working with a team from the NFL, not somebody coming to your stadium saying, oh, go to the side, we do everything alone. It was really a very, very good teamwork, and so we are happy that we did it. I wouldn't say it's the most sustainable event, but when it comes to like innovations around
probably
sustainable,
from the financial point of view, it's very
it was not too bad. It was not too bad. Yes,
it's very sustainable.
The sustainable part of these two games was that we played. One of the games is originally scheduled to be played in Mexico. Yeah. That couldn't happen. And so they were thinking of playing two games in Germany, one in Munich, one in Frankfurt. And we said, come on, it's more sustainable to play both games at Frankfurt. And that was the good reason to do it, yeah.
And Andrea, talking about sustainability and technology, thinking about the fact that a stadium is also a social investment. So how do you use technology to improve sustainability and to capitalize the social impact of Olimpico and for Italico?
Well, talking about social impact, of course, do bear in mind that it's an open stadium. Imagine that we open 7 days a week, 24 hours, because we have offices, we have 3 gyms inside, we have many events taking place, 85 events this year, plus we have additional activities also in the park. So from a social point of view, our aim, our objective is to make it open, and to make it open also not also only during large events. And I must say, from this point of view, we succeeded. Technology and sustainability, I would say, power and water is fundamental. We consume a lot of power. Events are characterized by peak. So the objective, and of course the arena is a perfect example, is to produce and store power. So to use it also in other moments of the event. Our big opportunity, and I think it's a secret for sustainability, is the scale. So our opportunity is that we have many events, many activities, offices. We are a small city itself. And what is happening also in Amsterdam, Henk will say, you can sell, you can borrow, you can share, the investment you make, and then they become feasible, within a certain area. And so also from this point of view, just the other thing I discovered when we started this sustainability project is that, this stadium has been built many years ago. The first opening was 53. We have some facilities that they are for water management, for bringing water from the river, from the Tiber, until the stadium and the way back, as well as the management of the water that is going to our roof, that is really huge. Is that they can be used. The moment they are not used, but they can be used. So when we talk about sustainability, I think it's also really important to think about how to reuse the facilities we already have.
Hank, what about technology now in the stadium, thinking about sustainability?
Well, technology is playing a very important role. But sustainability for us was always people, planet, profit and prosperity. So it has 4 components. And so it's a technology side and it is a more social side. And we are here in the social event. But it started in around 2005 when the idea of CSR came up, corporate and social responsibility. And then we said, well, we are funded by the people of Amsterdam, partly because the city of Amsterdam is a shareholder, and also people had bought a certificate of share, so we have to do something back to the people. So the CSR idea, we started working on that in 2005. The city of Amsterdam became a partner. And then the mayor said, we don't need dividends. If you get that money invested in your building, then we are very happy we can use the arena as a showroom. Yeah. We can say, look, a city, what we are doing. So we started with solar panels on the roof. In 2010, about 10,000 square meters of solar panels. And then we found out when the sun is shining, we don't have an event. And when there is an event, it's dark. So, hey, we said we must find somewhere to store the energy. So we found a company in Germany, a mobility house. They were related to the car industry. And they said, well, if you take the used batteries of cars, after 6-7 years, the batteries are finished for cars. You can load them only till 70%. We make a big battery out of that, and then you store the solar energy into the battery, So we built a huge room as big as this conference room, filled with racks of batteries.
Right.
We store 3.5 megawatt of energy, so that in daytime it's collected, in the evening we use it to run the business. But it is a DC, you have AC and DC, all the equipment is AC, so we had to change the light to LED and things like that to make it DC. So what I want to say is very technical. So there is a technical side, and we did a connection to a windmill in the harbor. We had connection to a heating system, so there was an electricity plant close to the arena. They were pumping hot water in the area to heat the houses. So we were also connected to that heating system and cooling system. So in 2012, we kicked out all the heating system on gas. So we were off the gas in 2012.
Yeah.
And then we started also social projects. I mean, we had 1,000 jobs plan. There were a lot of deprived people in the area, and we needed personnel because before Corona already we had a lack of personnel, technical people, cleaning, in the catering, whatever. So we started education together with the schools, and we educated people, and we created about 1,000 jobs in 2 years' time to get people on. I mean, what I want to say, the social part is very important. The Ajax Foundation was set up. So the football clubs made a foundation where people put money in, and with that money we did social projects. Kids after school, we played games with
different
them.
stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean,
okay.
to make and we gave stage places to people from the deprived areas that they could teach and learn what is a banker employee doing. So I mean, it was a whole package of things which has now grown in a steady package, and it never stops. You start somewhere, it never stops. It is development scheme.
So, unfortunately, folks, our time is over, and now it's time for the lunch. It's very sustainable. We hope so. And thank you so much for sharing your experiences with us. Thank you, Patrik. Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Hank. So let's have a lunch back here in the early afternoon, I think 2 p.m., 2:30 p.m., with the second part of our event, with the second part of the Social Football Summit. A big applause for our host. Thank you very much. Grazie mille, Andrea. Grazie.